I've tanked every one of the 8 new dungeons in Dragonflight and now expanding my beginner tanking guides to the dungeons beyond the 3 leveling ones I've already covered on my channel. Today we are learning to tank the Azure Vault dungeon. As always, it will be a quick walkthrough and some pointers on what to look out for as a beginner tank. If you like this content and want more of it, please give me a like and subscribe for more. I release many videos per week. The Azure Vault is hard to review without spoiling at least a little bit of the campaign storyline of the Dragonflight, as you have certain NPC here right front and center who is kind of guiding you through this vault that she created a long time ago. This dungeon reminded me of the old Nexus dungeon from Wrath of the Lich King, or even Botanica and Alcatraz from the Burning Crusade expansions, in general layout, design and color scheme. But this one feels obviously a lot more refreshed, and in certain places it looks simply gorgeous, if this particular frozen arcane magic and blue dragonflight aesthetic is kinda your thing. Before we continue talking about the first boss of the dungeon, please support our kind of sponsor, Chill and Lo-Fi Beats channel, who don't pay me to promote them, but they offered free and quite amazing lo-fi beats for every mood basically, and I want to support their growth and initiative, so if you like some royalty-free, no copyright music, give their growing channel a try, and I'll leave the link in the description of the video. So let's go on to the first boss. The path to the first boss is very straightforward and kind of spirals down as you pull the trash mob groups and continue your descent. Nothing hard was happening here on your way, and I'd call it generally rather easy entrance that won't really shock you. It was pretty chill, to be honest, but your mileage will vary, and we will talk about this element of the walkthrough through any dungeon towards the end of this video. It might be, in my experience, the most chill of the Dragonflight dungeon entrances, but again, it might be, spoiler alert, due to very high DPS. The first boss, Laymore, is apparently one of the overgrown seeds that Sindragosa planted here a long time ago. He is a beautiful rock giant model, an absolute masterpiece that we smashed pretty quickly because we had that beast of an evoker who was pulling spikes of 50 to 60k DPS at some point, so poor Laymore couldn't show us his best, I'm sure. He spawns pulsing crystals and does a smash, both of which you obviously need to avoid. That's pretty much all that I could see, at least on normal difficulty, and I will review mythic difficulty later if some mechanics would be different, other than obviously increased DPS and health of the bosses. This is your cue to subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of my future videos if you are enjoying this one so far. On the way to the second boss, you will find books of translocation that will teleport you forward. A neat design feature, but nothing too amazing or surprising, in all honesty. You go around circular constructions, clearing the packs of mobs before the next teleport book activates, and make your way down the spiral further towards Azure Blade. I found this part unnecessarily lengthy, actually even with absolutely sick DPS. Azure Blade is basically a Lord of the Rings golem of World of Warcraft, in this vault particularly, who was left behind by Sindragosa, which looks like it made Azure Blade go apparently insane and very possessive of all the treasures within. Once again, I blame our DPS that pulled over 60k on this boss particularly. So we did not explore any mechanics of poor Azure Blade, but like I said, as a general tanking overview of a normal dungeon, this is what I have to share with you so far, so stay tuned for any future updates or corrections. On your way down, you will very briefly encounter the third boss, Telash Greywing, who will be just talking to his underlings at one point. You will finally catch up to him to prevent him from discovering the secrets of the vault before you get to the end, basically. He does variety of cold AoE, including the ones spreading on the ground. You obviously need to get out of it. He will also teleport to the center of the room and start casting an absolute zero spell that presumably would do a lot of damage if you don't get into those visible, very visible arcane blue bubbles. Just hide in it and wait for his blast to go off and then go back to DPSing him. There's nothing too dangerous here, but I can't call this boss a pushover either. Good news is that there is no trash between the third boss and the fourth boss. Final Fantasy XIV style, good on you, Blizzard. And you teleport down to fight Umbral Skull, who happens to be, I've given you a little spoiler alert at the start of the dungeon, a left-behind child of Sindragosa, who apparently messed with the wrong magic, clearly. Drugs are bad, kids. He spawns crystals on the ground that have a detonation timer, cast time on them, and apparently your DPS needs to destroy them before the timer expires, or presumably there will be a boom and you're dead. Maybe. We didn't find out, and I don't wish that you find out either. So all in all, I thought the Azure Vault was visually gorgeous, once again, if this aesthetic is your thing, and very, very straightforward, but your mileage will vary always in a pickup group where you don't know if your DPS will actually do their job and burst things down before they do too much damage, and so on. I hope you've enjoyed this little guide and it helps you take your tanking to the next level. Like the video, please. Check out our sponsors so that so that we support the growing channels, just like my channel grew at one point in time. And I also like to see new people in our little growing club. So like the video, subscribe to the channel. Talk to you next time.